Yo, what's up? It's your boy Carcino here, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This is Mr. Felton's request. And once he suggested it, I liked it and said I was going to do it. I guess he thought I was going to do it like in 10 minutes. Because he continuously asks me again and again and again. And I'm like, I wanted to do this video. Because I'm going to put it all to bed. Now, Brady and Belichick, the dominance they have had as coach and quarterback, could only be matched with the dominance that went on with Walsh and Montana. Now, somebody's going to go way back into the 70s era. See, in the 70s era, it was the run ball football. That was the running era. It was more running plays than pass plays ever. You passed for emergency situations only. Passing game was not that lucid in the 70s. In the 80s, passing became the quicker way to get these yards. You get more athletic guys in here. You know, we can get them out. They're fast. They're knowing how to move. Let's get these guys the ball. And it was all about passing, was about being sneaky. When you passed the ball on the defense, you were being sneaky and deceptive. Run the ball like a man. You know, that's how they felt. Passing was sneaky. So everybody decided to play sneaky ball. It was insulting to pass on somebody. So what they decided to do, Cincinnati, was hire a guy who can construct offense, trick plays and everything. Walsh. Now, in case you guys didn't know, Walsh created the West Coast offense. That's what they named it after. Because mostly you didn't see stuff like that except for college. Those type of plays. They didn't have any place in the pro game. 3 wide receiver, 4 wide receiver sets. This stuff didn't exist. No tight end in the backfield. What's going on here? Where's the tight end? It's not making sense. So the West Coast offense is all these different receiver sets, and it's high-powered octane getting rid of the football. But the key to the West Coast offense and making it work wasn't just Joe Montana. It was mostly Walsh. Walsh is the offensive engineer. He knows how the players should be lined up. He knows how it should work. He knows how to make a quarterback better. And that's what he did with Joe Montana. He taught him the West Coast offense. And to teach the West Coast offense, you have to work on your timing. It's a whole thing to do with timing. And the only way to get the timing to work essentially well is to use your feet. 3-step drops, 4-step drops, 5-step drops. Using these steps are very monumental in making a play work. Your timing to be there. The ball would be there. You take a 4-step drop and release. 5-step drop and release. There's a reason that they put those steps in there. Is because by doing these steps, you're allowing the play to develop and be where the player needs to be, where it needs to be. 5-step drop, turn, get rid of the ball. Guys will be open. And you're like, oh, wow, it's a lot easier if we do it this way. So it's all about the proper placement of your feet for the right drops. And this is what made Joe Montana very efficient. And the Bengals passed on Walsh and went with an understudy to be their head coach. So it was personal against the Bengals every time they went against him. But Walsh is a perfectionist. Even when something's going good, he doesn't think it's good enough. He's got to keep trying to get it better. each and every time. Gotta get it better than this. Nah, it could be a lot better. He's gonna find something wrong so he can go back and try to fix it. Well, all of these things are nice and pretty, but Joe, I never respected. Never used to respect Montana. I thought he was a Hollywood over glorified quarterback. Didn't think he was as good as he was. Until he left the 49ers and went to Kansas City, and I said, wow. This guy really knows how to win. I said, this guy knows how to win. That was the first year in the playoffs they'd ever beaten the Broncos. The Chiefs. I mean, Elway owned him. Did a fourth quarter comeback. And Montana's like, not today. Kansas City's going to do this one. We're going to have our comeback now. And he had the last laugh. And I said he was unbelievable. His last runs in Kansas City were pretty amazing. And he ended up earning my respect. But let's go on the other side of the field, shall we? On the other side of the glass, you got Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick lives, sleeps, and eats football. Since he was with the Jets, the success, he should have been the Jets head coach. And they gave it to Parcells. You know, and things were not right. He was supposed to be the head coach somewhere else, and he ended up turning it down. He retired too when Tuna stepped away, and he didn't want the job either. It was a big mess with Belichick. Big mess. So he has been around as a defensive savant forever, winning Super Bowls with the Giants, 2 of them. Then from leaving, going all the way over to start his own thing in Cleveland. That didn't work out too well. But he was out on his own. And he got some taste of what it really felt like to be in a number one. Then the Patriots happened. Now, this is a weird combination because you have one of the greatest defensive schemers of all time in Bill Belichick and his great defensive schemes versus Bill Walsh and his offensive prowess and the creator of the West Coast offense. And he's known as one of the greatest head coaches of all time. But all of this is a smokescreen to make you feel like they know nothing about the other side of the ball. Bill Walsh was very, very, very good at personnel and knowing defensively what sets people need to be in, if it's 4-3 or dime and everything else. Why? Because he designs the offense. He designs the offense so he knows what players should be in on defense. Bill Belichick knows the offense just as much as he knows the defense. He knows what set, okay, the offense they're running is in this set. So we need to know exactly how to line up against it. So he knows what offensive plays should work on what defense, because he sees it on the other opposite side of the field. He sees what defense is lined up before they even get through forming. His thing is to get past his knowledge on through his quarterback. So the quarterback can recognize these things. So once he started evolving over the years, because he was just a check down quarterback when he came out of Michigan. His job was just don't lose the game, Tom. Let the defense win the championships. Let the defense win it. You know, the first 2 Super Bowls they won, like, Tom Brady was just maintaining the game. You know, like, I'm going to manage the clock. I'm going to get us in field goal range. He wasn't a let's explode the ball down the field quarterback. And he was never really that guy until, like, Randy got there. Then he started exploding down the field. You know, it was the Peyton Mannings. Those guys were down the field. We're going to hit these guys, the White Clarks. You know, he was the push the ball down the field guy and lighten it up. That was never his game. Once that started to become Tom Brady's game, he became more efficient because Randy Moss knew more about defenses in the game than any other person he's ever seen. And he learned a lot from Randy and how quick Randy was able to pick up the Patriots' complicated playbook. A lot of y'all thought Randy Moss just ran down the field, right, real fast and caught the ball. But it's a lot that went into that. It's a lot about setting up Wes Welker to have the most yards of the season on the team. A lot of this was freeing other guys up to have great seasons. So when you look at that team, that was probably one of the best football teams ever assembled. And for them not to get it off a fluke play was disheartening, but they put it all out on the line. To me, I look at Tom Brady as the essential quarterback. Like, today's times, it's hard to gauge who's the better quarterback, him or Montana. But he came up where they used to nail you into the ground with sacks and everything else. It was way more physical when they played with the 49ers played. I judge it off of accuracy of passes, the personnel, and I've seen Montana play with the best in the world. And a lot of that took away from the greatness of Montana because he played with Jerry Rice all those years. You know, he won a Super Bowl without Jerry. He won like one without Jerry, I think, and then the rest were all with Jerry. And John Taylor and Roger Craig and Ronnie Lott on defense, Charles Haley. The list goes on and on. And all of these people I'm naming are Hall of Fame. It's hard to name anybody that's going to be Hall of Fame on the New England Patriots. You know, Moss was only there, 2.5 years? And one full season with Brady, one was not. Then in the third season, he was basically moved. So I say that to say this. We've got to get a plan, people. Got to get a plan together. If you're going to do anything in life. Because these guys are planners, they're organizers, they do everything down the line. Because Tom Brady is an essential workaholic, watches film religiously. That was not Joe Montana. Joe Montana was Hollywood, he was the commercial guy. He watched film here and there, but he let the coaches mostly do all that. And then he comes in and they'll go over certain things that he needs to look at, but he's not going to waste his time doing film all day. He's going to spend time with his wife and kids or go out and hang out. That was Joe. But Joe was going to come there and get the job done. But when you got the horses to get it done, it makes your job real easy. And that's what separates Brady from Montana. Brady was able to win with the least amount of recognized talent of anybody in the league. Hardly anybody can remember his receiving core that he had from the first Super Bowl or second one or maybe even the third one. You know, he won a Super Bowl with a lacrosse player, Julian Edelman. You know, like, these are not names people really know. Two of those guys are not even on the team anymore. The running backs. Most of them are not even on the team anymore. So, I just think the degree of difficulty would put Brady up there. I think if you put Tom Brady with Jerry Rice, Roger Craig in that lineup, they win more Super Bowls. If you put Joe Montana with this receiving core and this crew, I don't think they win a Super Bowl. That's just how I see it. So I picked Brady. Now, between Belichick and Walsh, as great as Bill Belichick is he's limited by the times, because even though his defense did wonders, the Giants did wonders on the 49ers when they played. He went up against Bill Walsh's West Coast offense and was able to dismantle it, but most of that was the personnel and the plays that were called on the defensive end. It was highly impressive, I must admit. But he's the architect. You know, both guys are meticulous, just meticulous about everything. It's just precision and plays, and it's really hard. But I'm going to go with the architect. I'm going to go with Walsh, because he's really good at getting his message across and getting things over. It's a slight edge, but I'm going to go with him. And if there's any player, a coach that's similar to Walsh, Bill Belichick is it. He lives mostly on the defensive side of the ball. It's what he likes to move forward, first, because he feels that's where the game is won or lost. Getting the offense to dictate to you should determine the game. That's how his mentality thinks. So, with that being said, it's your boy Carcino. I'm out. That's my lineup. Okay, Thomas Felton, it is done.